Yeah, thank you. The first agenda item is approval of minutes of the August 24th, 2022 Facilities and Property Management Committee.
So moved.
There's a second.
I'll second
All right. Motion's been moved and seconded. All right. All those in favor say aye.
it.
Aye. All right. Moving on to correspondence shared by committee members.
I guess I got something I gotta ask again, and I asked it last time. Is there a certain amount, and I know you're gonna know what I'm talking about, that somebody can do something in a building that don't have to go through here? They can just be done. I'm talking about county executives and all the buildings. There's been no place that ran through there, it did not gone through the county board, it didn't go through personnel and finance. And all of a sudden we got 3 offices out there.
The way it works is you guys approve the budget. And then once we have the budget, it's at the discretion of the county executive of how he wants to spend it. And we had money in the budget for 2022 to create new offices for him in the State Street building. That didn't get done. So they were moved over to doing the 4th floor offices for him. So that's until it gets to the point where it's like a capital type project, where it's not in the budget, then it doesn't necessarily have to go before you. It becomes the gray area of the policy and administration on who actually has the ultimate review of it.
Okay. So once we pass the budget, things can be done anyplace switched around.
Yeah,
Because I'm gonna bring this up again too, is before the last election, it was decided that our corporate council should not be moved.
right,
Now it's moved.
right.
And I'm sure there had to be some decorating and everything else in there.
They're actually, the only thing that we spent money on that project was creating a couple offices for veteran services and human services. She occupied the spaces just the way they were. But that then again falls in that gray area of policy and administration on how it all gets done.
So we either gotta read our budgets better and see where the money's gonna land, or
Yeah, but once again, once you guys pass the budget, then it's up to the executive on how he wants to spend the budget, is my understanding. And that would be, maybe something that the P&F committee should be looking into more on how you guys can be apprised of changes in where the money was actually allocated. But I believe that there's a problem on all levels of government where the legislative branch passes the budget and then the executive branch can move it to where they think they need to use the money to the best advantage of the organization.
well, that's what I heard, but I couldn't believe that, because somebody, whoever it is, can pad a little bit here, and then all of a sudden, well, we're not gonna need it there, we'll move it over here.
Yeah.
I don't think that's right. So,
Well, no, I don't think it's right, and that's not something I've done for my budget. But we have had times where, let's say I have a project that I budgeted at $50,000, the bids come in at 75, but it's like, we're not gonna come back to the county board for another $25,000. It's not that critical a project. We'll delay it till the next year and either roll the funds over or ask for the whole $75,000. Again.
But then there again, the price by then could go up again, right?
It could. So what I have to do as a department head, I have to say, what are the chances of the prices going up? How much do we think they're going to go up? And then I do have to add on, I'll call it an inflation factor, that hopefully we get it done. And like the second time, if it comes back that I don't have enough money for it, then it's a real hard discussion on, is this something we really need to do? And if it is something that we really need to do, then I need to find some other place in my budget to take the money and reallocate it so that we can get it done. So it might come from, like, I have a line item in my budget for unspecified repairs, because we're all homeowners, that things break and you don't know that they're gonna break. So I may have to reduce the amount of money that I have for unplanned for repairs and add it to the project and get the project done. And if it's a capital project, then it's something that I have to come before you guys and ask to reallocate money. Because we have two different types of capital projects. If you look at our budget, there's an account that starts with a 58. Those are for vehicles and things like that. But if it's a 58 account number, that's basically considered a capital account in our operational budget, but it's a restricted account in that those funds can't be just moved by me. I have to go before the committee and I believe the P&F committee to reallocate funds within the capital account. But if it's in just the plain old operational accounts, as long as it's in, we have three categories: labor, capital, and operations. As long as it's in the operations, then I can move things between the budget accounts without coming before anybody in order to pay the bills. Like snow removal is not a capital account or labor, but if we have a really bad snow, I gotta pay to get the snow taken care of. And that might mean that I can use savings from the utilities to pay for that. But this year, I don't think I'm gonna have any savings in utilities. So the budget this year is gonna be kind of tight, because where I'm showing a lot of savings is in labor, and I can't use those funds. So it's September. Projections are we're gonna come in okay, but utilities is not gonna be one of the ones where I turn money back from. So that's how it works.
I just got one more thing. Okay, say like you got a project, and you say $100,000.
Mhm.
It only costs 75, but you don't get anything for it, but say 75. So you could just take that $25,000 and put it some other place, what you're telling me.
Correct.
Mhm.
And I would say people who are less forthright than the way I do business
I know, right?
could do that. But if it's a project for $100,000, there's a good chance it would be in a 58 account, which means that it's locked into that account and I wouldn't be able to do anything. But there are some things that are considered repairs and operations, like replacing a boiler can be a $75,000 job, but it may not fall into a capital account because it's not really meeting the criteria of capital. It's more of a repair type thing that you're replacing an existing piece of equipment. And like you said, yes, then that would leave money left over in that repair account. And people who want to game the system can do it that way. And that comes down to, I believe, the integrity of our department heads, on whether they do that kind of stuff or not. And for the most part, I think most of our department heads are pretty straight shooters. I haven't dealt with a lot of them now because a lot of them are new. But I think most of them would not overinflate a project just to have a pot of money that they can go and then go and buy something else.
And they might not intend to, but it is, but then all of a sudden I got this extra 25 sitting there, let's fix this here up or whatever. And
Yeah.
so, then I got one other question. Karen, I heard this. Is it true that the snow plowing you're looking at putting out possibly for?
I have talked to Bob Daniel because he is down he is probably the worst hit department right now. I believe he has 6 mechanics positions and he might be down to 1 or 2. And he's down, I think, 5 or 6 operators. And right now we've had to, because of the mechanic shortage, we are having to contract out some of our vehicle repairs. And I've asked him if he needs me to contract out snow plowing of our parking lots, because my thoughts are, you live in Pickett? Rushford? How can we tell Rushford we're not gonna plow their streets and then we have trucks on our parking lots? I think his equipment deserves or should be out on the roads rather than doing our parking lots. And he has not gotten back to me yet.
And then I just wanted to bring this part up. Will that have to go back before the county board? Because the county board made a motion and second and voted on that all roads are supposed to be taken care of by the county. I'm just asking these questions. I'm getting asked them. So.
Yeah, I don't think it has to go before the county board, because that's kind of an operations administrative thing, how we're gonna get the work done. But I have not, like I said, I haven't gotten an answer from Bob, and it's getting short here, that if he says he can't handle doing our parking lots and doing the roads that he needs to do, I might be out not having anybody to do the parking lots. And we don't have the equipment to do the parking lots. We do have a 3/4 ton pickup truck that we tried plowing our lots here. And if it's a wet snow, we start with about 3 inches. And by the time we get to the end of the parking lot, we can't push it anymore. So it's, we aren't equipped to do it. So if Bob can't do it and it's too late for me to get somebody contracted, I'm in a real bind.
Well, that's why I'm asking, should this be brought up for the county board right away, because you've got to be out getting bids now.
Yeah, we do have bids. We had 2 people bid it. Well, and because I'm looking for people to do sidewalks, because I have no custodians, and they're getting burned out doing cleaning. And then to tell them I need you on call to come in and do snow, I'm going to just crush them, you know. So I'm looking for somebody to do sidewalks, and one vendor says, I'll do the sidewalks and I'll do the parking lots too, but I'm not gonna bring a crew there just to do the sidewalks. So we've got 2 of them, and we will be able to cover that cost because we have money funded for highways to do it. If highways doesn't do it, then that is in a snow removal type category, and it would just get contracted. But yeah, I'm kind of in a bind right now, and I have not heard back from Bob, and I gotta give him a call.
So how many men are you down right now?
I think I'm still down 5 custodians and 1 maintenance technician and 1 superintendent. So, and, you know, people take vacations, people call in sick. So I think yesterday, out of 16 custodial type positions, we had 9 people working. And we've got 14 buildings we clean. So it's like,
Wow.
we gotta move them around. And I think I brought up to the committee, maybe before you were on and Tom, you were on, there are like 3 standards of cleaning for the buildings. Hospital clean is like 24,000 square feet per custodian. And it goes all the way up to where the organization says unkempt is like 55,000 square feet. And we're like about 75,000 square feet. So I would say that their idea of unkempt at 55,000 square feet might be a little light, because I don't think any of our buildings are unkempt, but we are not, we cannot do everything that we're doing. So, you know, if somebody gets exposed to COVID and before they change the COVID rules, I could be out most of my crew because they work in close proximity to somebody. Well, you gotta be home for 5 or 10 days because that's the quarantine. And, you know, now we're going and cleaning restrooms. That's what we're doing. And cleaning public spaces.
Did you just pick up an employee from the highway though? I mean, I'm just saying that.
Maybe, yeah, I think we will. I think we're gonna make the offer to him, but I think and that's one of the operators. So, you know, now it's like, you know, I talked to Bob about it, and it's,
Solid waste picked up
yeah, a couple people, and I think an asphalt company picked up 1, and Fond du Lac and Washera or Wapaka County picked up 1 each. Yeah, so it's.
Is this correspondence between committee members or correspondence between committee members and director too?
It's
shared by
whatever
committee members.
correspondence that you want to speak about it.
I just want to mention, I sent Mike an email about requesting the appraisal for planned acquisition of 2831 Harrison Street
Yeah,
and the lease.
yeah, and that's gonna be on the agenda for
Yeah.
October.
Okay.
So my thoughts were I was gonna send it out to you guys in October.
Yeah, just want to have enough time to, you know, that I can.
If you guys want it now, I can print it off and get it in the mail to you this week?
As soon as you can, I
Okay,
guess, because I'll do a review and I'd have to keep a file on it technically to comply with my standards, but I'm gonna do it for nothing, because
Mhm.
but I just wanna, so that's why I like to see that lease, even if it's short term, I
Okay,
just like to see
I
it.
will ask.
And, again, it doesn't mean I'm, not in favor of this acquisition. I think probably it's something that the county needs to do, but I just want to make sure that proper due diligence is done, that's all. That's all.
I do have one thing, the, Inflation Reduction Act and the infrastructure plan, these things are coming, and I guess especially with the, well, let me back up. Half the money allocated will be allocated to the states directly, but then the other half of the money will be given through grant money. So, counties and municipalities have to apply for those grants, and so I guess I'm, asking Mike and kind of start putting that on your radar, because especially for the grant portion of that, folks have to, or municipalities have to apply for that. And so essentially, you're talking, I was thinking about the King building with the new windows, maybe that's something that could be utilized. And so
Mhm.
with some of this money. And so it's passed. And I guess I'm just saying that we should be looking into utilizing grant money if we can. So that's all I have. Anybody else? All right, moving on. We have no public, Mike.
No, we have no public.
Okay, we'll move on from that agenda item to discussion and approval of a budget transfer of $87,924 from the general fund for the replacement of 3 water heaters at Parkview Health Center. Mike?
We have, and unfortunately, neither actually Paul nor Lindsay, I don't know her last name, the administrator from Parkview are away at a conference. So, and I told them there's probably not much that they would add to this, because this is really kind of in my ballpark. We have 3 water heaters out there that are original water heaters. So that makes them, we occupied the building in 2008, so they're 14 years old. 18 months to 2 years in, one of the water heaters was replaced on warranty. We had issues. So a few weeks ago, we had water heater number 3 developed a problem, a leak, and it's in parts that there are no support for these water heaters anymore, and it needs to be replaced. Given the track history of these water heaters and the age of them, I think it would be prudent that we replace all 3 of them at one time with something that is more reliable and more easily supported by the manufacturers. This is a cost that we got from the engineer to buy the water heaters and get them installed and up and running. The problem that we've got is we're operating fine on 2 water heaters right now. But if the oldest one of them, now that we have had the one problem, it's in a place that we couldn't see and we can't get to, and there's no parts. If we go down to 1 water heater, we can't support the residents. We would be really in a bind with having to comply with the Health and Human Services requirements to providing hot water. So this request is to replace all 3 of them. We would phase it in so that they're not without hot water, but it would get us 3 new boilers. It would be like thermal solutions is what we've got in our other buildings that have replaceable parts, and we do have the support from the manufacturer on them.
Does your crew put them in?
This is something that we would contract out. This is more work. We've got 1 plumber. It's more work than he would be able to do with help from our people.
Can you get them?
Yes.
I'll make the motion that we go ahead with this project.
Second.
All right, a motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, all right, passed 5-0. Moving on, discussion and approval of an easement request from American Transmission Company at Winnebago County Maintenance Facility.
Apparently American Transmission Company is going through their records and they found that the letter I got from them, and I thought I had sent to you, but, and I apologize. I thought you guys were okay with digital stuff, but next month I'll mail it up to you. That the easement doesn't conform to current standards of what utility easements for high tension wires, need to conform to. There is no easement. I talked to, planning and zoning and register of deeds. And the appraisal that APC did says that there are no easements on the property. And if you can kind of see where the old railway right of way was, that's where the easement would go. And all of our trees are out of there. Unfortunately, one of our neighbors just planted like 6 trees right in the easement. So,
Where the easement would be.
where the easement would be. So what they're doing is they would like to create an easement that we would not be able to plant or build anything 30 feet out from the power poles. Which
Makes sense.
I think we have maybe 1 or 2 limbs that might infringe on that, and we'll just lop the trees off.
Well, you're gonna cut down their trees?
No, I'm not gonna cut down their trees. We've got a row of, I don't know what kind of trees they are, they're not ash. But there's a couple limbs that extend, if you kind of look down and look up, you say, yeah, I've probably got about 4 feet of limb that extends into it, and I need to cut it. And then to compensate for us, they would pay us $7,100 for a perpetual easement for that. A one-time payment.
Where is this?
It's
Right here.
You can't really see it here. It runs along the backside of the building over there,
Okay.
behind our 2 outbuildings. And we've got a row of, I think there's some cedars in there and some other kinds of trees. But it's in an area that we've had some issues with the owners behind us, where they just see green space and they put flower beds out there and everything else. We've had to send them letters saying, no, you can't. Well, you can't do it on our county property to begin with, and now there's an easement there.
Mhm.
And I don't know how. And when I talked to the individual from ATC, it goes 30 feet the other way, and people have got garages in there. I don't know what that's going to do to the people in the subdivision on the other side of the power poles, but that's not my concern. Our concern is this one. We've kept it clear, because we just assumed there was an easement underneath the power lines, and you don't want to put anything under the power lines. But this would formalize putting an easement there, a perpetual easement, and for that, they say the diminished property value would be $7,100.
30 feet by how long?
30 feet by, well, I think I've got a picture. I can.
You'd have to acquire that property on the other side of the line by eminent domain. Private property.
Mhm.
Yeah, and but
They're
that's,
taking garages.
that's the private property owner's
Right.
problem.
Yeah.
And that's not always so easy anymore either, if they didn't let them blame.
It's just box done.
That's the kind of appraisal work I really wanna do.
We're up here in the building here,
Yeah,
and this would be the easement back here that they're talking about.
on the old rail line.
Yeah. And so, the perspective from the picture shows these 2 trees infringing on it, but this tree, I think, has 1 limb that actually extends into it.
Yeah, so over here you got some property that's,
Yeah.
okay, encroached on. Okay, thank you.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve this easement request.
I'll second it with that, being put in there that we received $7,100 from.
Right.
That will be in the resolution.
All right, a motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? Oh, 5-0. All right, moving on to discussion of ownership at UWO Fox Cities.
And I apologize because I thought I had mailed this all off you. I got in touch with, Register of Deeds. And they go,
Mike, did you say you send it out electronically?
yeah, I sent it out email wise.
So you did,
Yeah.
This,
Yeah,
the easement,
I sent out
Yep.
everything I
Yeah.
thought electronically.
I probably just didn't look at it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did look at
Yeah.
it.
But back in 1959, a husband and wife sold the property to both Winnebago County and Outagamie County for $1. And on the deed, it shows that both Winnebago County and Outagamie County are 50-50 owners for the UW Fox parcel
On the deed.
on the deed. Yeah, here's the warranty deed. So that, you guys have all got that.
Mhm.
But it isn't in the computer record.
What I have found is that, the tax lister, planning and zoning, the municipalities are a little fast and loose with who they put as the owner.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the records on the computer are incorrect.
Mhm.
Which this opens the door that if our highway department can't fix the parking lot or plow the snow, the public works statute says that counties can't go across county lines and do other county work,
Mhm.
unless it's owned by them. So this would allow Outagamie County, if we had to utilize their services, to do work on the parking.
so how much of UW is actually on Winnebago County?
All of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
the parcel is completely in Winnebago County, but the owners are the two counties split 50-50.
No. We have. Oh, yeah, it's 50-50 split, but we only have. Like, we have less than 50% enrollment.
Yes.
That depends on the year.
You know,
Yeah. Yep.
But the owners are Winnebago County and Outagamie County 50-50.
And this is
Yeah.
not, I mean, if there's other counties, right, that have maybe not the same thing, but this isn't out of the, I don't know, I just think this is a
Or-
benefit that two counties split the costs.
Yeah,
Right.
it's to the benefit of the two counties to
Two
split
counties,
the cost.
yeah,
All the other two-year campuses
Yeah.
are,
and actually, I think we kind of worked out because of the fact that it's mostly
Yeah.
Winnebago County.
right.
I did have it as just down
Okay.
farther and I didn't. Put out.
oh, hey, if your email's like mine, I promise I will send it out to you guys. It was my misunderstanding. So that's,
Kind of the history of it. right?
that's the history of it.
Anybody else have any other questions on that? All right, then we are moving.
So, I'm just gonna say, so all these arguments, all these years, then in Italy, if that would have been in the right paperwork and everything, okay, they own just as much of it as we do.
Right. So it's,
Undivided interest.
you know, there was talk about them just walking away. They can't really just walk away because they own half of it.
Mhm.
You know, not like, I don't know the whole history of the Tri-County Ice Arena. But they can't just walk away from this.
All right, update on King Building Mother's Room.
We had a slight twist on that project. We were all set to get going on it. But the diversion program has asked if we would mind if they relocated the mother's room down to the old break room in the basement. Because that would work out better for them, for the layout of the building and all. And I don't have a problem with that. It'll save us, you know, $5,000-6,000. Because we haven't started the work, but you know, I've asked them that, it needs to be available for employees and for the public And they've said that will be not a problem with them.
Is there an elevator that goes to the basement?
Yes,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That's incredible.
Right, anybody else have any questions on that? Hearing none, moving on to discussion of the 2023 facilities budget.
I think in the budget and we met the target that the county executive wanted to. He would like us to talk more so about how we do our projects or our programs. And, you know, it's kind of difficult for me because we don't really have programs like solid or not solid waste, but human services or land and water might have some programs that they do. You know, we have 3 programs where we take care of our buildings. We take care of the 980 building, and then we do work for other departments. So, you know, you see my project list on what we do for all of our other buildings and what we do. Basically what I have found out, or what I can tell you is, you know, and we just talked a little bit about it earlier, is that when you look at for cleaning, we have 16 people and we clean about 600,000 square feet. So, you know, we're right at the top end of what the industry standards say we should be doing to do minimal cleaning in our buildings, and our staff is really doing a superb job keeping our buildings up the way they are. We do the best we can. The pandemic kind of threw us a couple curves because we were having to do more disinfecting than in the past. And it kind of stretches across the board to our maintenance techs and our HVAC techs and our electricians. Basically working, you know, I've worked close with my counterpart in Allegheny County. They don't have the kind of staff that we do. They contract out the majority of their work. And there's mixed thoughts on whether contracting out or our own staff, which is more cost effective. And I have, my personal opinion is I think our own staff is more cost effective because they have ownership of their work. When we go out for bids, the bids can be anywhere they go, and we're stuck with taking a little bidder.
plus I don't think you're gonna get the quality you're getting now.
No.
Yeah,
Amen to that.
amen. It's,
So, you know, it's, you know, people would say I've got a vested interest in keeping my people here. But in looking at what I've done in private industry and what I've seen other counties and everything deal with, I think right now, our staff is doing as good or better a job as what we could contract out for. We've been having a problem with an elevator, which is work that we can't do because we're not licensed to do it.
Is
But
that elevator fixed yet?
no,
Oh,
at
really?
Human Services, no. And, you know, we've gone through all of the major elevator repair companies. And we're come back full circle now to, well, we're working with Kone, who is, they bought out several of the companies. And, you know, they can't get parts, they don't have staff, you know, so we can't get them back there till Friday to fix an elevator. And it's, and I've told you guys numerous times, I'm getting tired of telling you that the supply chain is killing me. You know, it's the supply chain and the vendors don't have the staff, they can't get the parts. But I do think with our own staff, we do have people that take ownership with their work and they want to do the best work for the county at the least amount of cost that they can. So what I can tell you is that our services for the other departments, we average probably about 14,000 work orders a year, spread over, you know, Well, we don't really do work orders for custodial work, so that's roughly about 15 people. So, you know, our maintenance techs, HVAC guys and electricians are probably doing about 1,000 work orders a year.
Mhm.
And work orders can go from 10 minutes to, you know, 2 weeks. It takes, you know, depending on what kind of job they're doing. We've got two big customers, and it's Parkview and the jail. And those are the two places that we put our emphasis on because we actually have people living there. So, and Parkview is our biggest customer, and they take about a third of our number of work orders. So of those work orders, roughly about a third of them are for preventive maintenance. So, you know, one of the big goals that we have is making sure that we do the preventive maintenance so that we don't have catastrophic failures. And, you know, there are still things that just break that you don't know. So that's with it. The 980 building, we really, knock on wood, haven't had much to do to maintain it. It's just been, we've been rolling in the rent, $24,000 a year. And we're in negotiations with the state now to up it because we've got the second person there. And that's in the hands of corporate counsel. But we were looking at bumping that up to $30,000 a year, and I don't think we've gotten to that point yet. And then the other work that we do for the other departments, that's the 1029 accounts that you kind of see for us. We have not been getting a lot of requests in time to get them in the budget. We do have some departments that wait until, you know, now to say, well, you know, we want you to do this remodeling for us, and I have to go back and tell them, you know, my budget was submitted back in July. We have no money for that. And those are some of the things that sometimes we have to find a way to get them done, or have to come back to you for additional funds. Or I get the county executive to just say, no, we're not going to do that work. And he's been very supportive of this department. And he is looking at trying to make sure that we do the best for the infrastructure of the county. What I wanted to do is I wanted to share something with you. Just so you can kind of see some graphs.
Is this your energy one?
Yeah. So this is all the buildings that we take care of, and we've lumped in Parkview. Parkview actually pays their own utility bills, but we actually have data that goes back to 1998, but portfolio manager doesn't show it. They only go back 10 years. So if you kind of look back here in 10 years, we were using about 104,000 BTUs per square foot of our building. And through our efforts and doing some of our LED lighting replacements, upgrading our equipment, you know, making sure that our steam traps are working, we've actually gotten down to 87.5 thousand, I think. Or is that 87,000? Yeah. I don't know how to read it. 87
BTU per square
Yeah.
foot. KBTU per square foot.
So we've had roughly, it's about a 14%, 15% decrease in our energy usage. And over this time, people have gotten more computers. We've gotten more servers to store more data. And we've added some buildings. We've added the CBRF. You know, we're going to be adding the training center for Parkview here real soon. But we've still managed to reduce our energy costs or energy usage. And if we go to,
I'm sure it's not on there, Mike, but did you ever figure, not you, but was it ever figured out on how much money was saved by building the new terminal compared to the other one? Because that was a big thing.
I don't see their bills.
Okay.
We don't pay their bills. But basically, when I talk to WPS, they say you can plan on like about $2 a square foot for utility bills. So the other building was, I think, right around 40,000 square feet. So their utility bill should have been $80,000 a year. And I think it's about 12,000 square feet now. So that would be $24,000. Now, I think that would be something that, we definitely have to be saving. I can't tell you how much.
Definitely, I was just wondering if there ever
What
was,
if-
because that was the big thing on the sale of it, that
Yeah.
we knocked that down, we'll be saving so much more.
Can you pull up building by building? I don't want to get in the weeds.
Oh, yeah,
We
yeah,
we get off track here, but I guess I'm just, we've talked about this, I think, they needed to be done, but I don't, it was real in the resolution with the courthouse that, there's gonna be an energy savings, and I guess
I'll show you the courthouse.
more curiosity fact.
Come on.
And obviously there weren't the people in there though the last couple of years either.
That's the courthouse.
Whoa,
Well, that's 14, but when we put the new windows in there, it didn't, what I was saying is it doesn't really matter.
We don't see, we
Right,
don't
that's what
see
that's,
that.
yes. Well,
But
But the drop
Yeah.
in 14 is huge.
yeah, but the new windows were put in 20.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying.
so,
yeah, that's
2020
the thing too, is that,
it's flat, but costs are low.
we've got like about 4,000 BTUs, BTUs per square foot, but we're getting more people in there. So, it's hard. This takes a look at the weather and figures out how we're doing. But it really doesn't show us with the people. And we have, intuitively, I can tell you, I know we're saving energy because we aren't having the wind coming through the windows.
yeah.
But I
At the
can't,
courthouse,
at the courthouse.
there was 2 panes of windows
Yeah.
there. Like, trust me, I'm very knowledgeable about this. They needed to be replaced. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about it, but it wasn't.
But I
a
can't
cost
show
savings
you,
thing.
I can't show you that because, and that's, when I show you the savings, it's real hard for me too, because people bring in personal stuff. It's like, they kind of estimate, I think 20% of your electrical load can be your,
Cell phone charging.
well, your outlet loads.
Oh,
People bring in radios, people bring in coffee makers, people bring in portable or personal refrigerators.
mhm.
We don't have a policy or practice on that. It's been discussed a number of times with myself and multiple county execs. I don't know how we're going to limit
Heaters,
the outlet loads.
heaters is the big one, right? That
Heaters
a lot
are
of
the big
folks
one.
have heaters.
And it's
What's that? Yeah, but well, I mean, you're gonna tell everybody that they give them a blanket and say you need a.
well, what we tell the people is, if you're cold, let us know.
Yeah.
Our practice is that we will heat the space to 70 degrees by your desk. And I know 70 degrees can feel cool when you're sitting at a desk, but, it's hard for us too, because like Oshkosh Human Services, 3 offices will share a thermostat. And if somebody has a couple people in their office and they have a thermostat, they artificially tell the thermostat it's warm, and now we're cooling the other 2 offices, and I can't do that. But if we go back to the overall summary, it's like Coughlin Center is one of our newest buildings, and our Energy Star rating is like 56. I don't know where we're going wrong with that. But the courthouse, we've got an Energy Star rating of 90. And I don't pursue the Energy Star ratings because in order to do that, we have to do what's called commissioning of buildings. And that is about a $40,000 or $50,000 cost for an engineer to come in.
No, geez.
And if you want to keep
That ain't worth it.
claiming that you're an Energy Star company, you have to go back every year and recertify that you are still doing what you're supposed to be doing. And that's just, I would much rather say that we're saving energy like I can show you here and use the $40,000 or $50,000 to buy new water heaters or put in LED lights or things like that, and just use best practices to do it and know that I'm saving energy, but I can't prove it to you. And to get the Energy Star rating, you have to have everybody buy into it, because I can't have somebody come in with portable heaters and mess me up. A lot of our buildings, they don't have an Energy Star classification for them, so we can't figure out what they are. But you know, our place here, we're up to a 99, you know, and it goes from 0 to 100. So we've done some work here that has gotten us up. Nina Human Services, we're not doing so good. Otter Street, we're really not doing so good. But then, you know, we're Second Chances, and the State Street building, we're doing better. Warren King, we're not doing well. Oshkosh Human Services, we're doing well. And if you kind of look at it, it's the older buildings with a lot of thermal mass that we're doing well in. The newer construction buildings, we're not doing so well in. Parkview's difficult because, you know, they have residents, and
You gotta crank the heat.
we gotta, you know, we've got some residents that need the room temperature up to like 80 degrees because they're so cold. So it's hard for us to do energy efficient practices there because of the type of residents we have. When we had the Williams building, it was a 94, and I thought we had the jail here. Oh, we don't get one because they don't classify jails. So, but you know, if we go to like the jail, and we look at their chart, you know, it was right about this time that we had a problem with the absorption chiller. That is, we couldn't, the waste heat pipes that we had getting the waste heat from the generators failed, and it's about a $300,000 job to get them replaced. And there's no way that we would recover those kind of costs over the lifespan of their having the generators there. That it doesn't make sense for us. So I do want to get somebody to try and find out how we can have another heat source for the absorption chiller, so that we can get these costs back down. And that is it with the portfolio manager, unless you want to see something else. And that's pretty much, the budget was flat. So they did take a look at our wages and said, you know, you're always turning money back from wages because we have the vacancies. So they did what they called as a wage adjustment line, and they did take $75,000 back from us for that. So if we become 100% manned for the whole year, we will probably come up short. But we haven't been 100% manned for a long time.
Right, Mike, you did touch on, moving on, touch a little bit on the 980 housing project. You want to add a little bit more of that?
We had a meeting with the city yesterday. It was very good. They're very appreciative of it. We have got a parcel that we could probably put 12 buildings on, but we're not going to build 12 yet. What they've asked is that we go for about as big a size as we can go, so that they can do one approval process and it doesn't keep coming before the public. So we're still looking at building 6, but the parcel would be big enough to hold it. Let me see, let me see if I can show it here real quick. I do not have the, well, let me see if. Okay, let me stop sharing for a minute here. Let me find this. And see if I've got. No, the architect, didn't send me the updated drawings yet. I'm still sharing, so. You probably make, well, nobody's on watching, so it doesn't make any difference. But this is the,
That's the existing site.
yeah. So this is the existing site, right here.
Yeah.
I don't think I can blow it up. But it would be expanded, and it would be just west of the dirt access road to just about where the west edge of the site is right now.
Yeah, isn't there kind of an angled road that comes in, and then there's a detention pond to the east of that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me see. This is not gonna be the best picture, it doesn't look like.
That's pretty good. So,
But this is where, the original position was for.
yeah,
But what we found is that, we're actually into an exclusion zone if you work backwards. If you take and you go 1,500 feet from the apartments, then we're like about 10 feet into this parcel. So we had to slide it, change the dimensions and move it away from that a little bit. So this is the dirt access road. We'll be on the west side of that.
yeah.
And we do have, we're gonna go for approval to do 12 of these buildings, but the plan is to only build 6. But we have approval that if we ever need more, we can go back and just build the more, buy the building permit, and we don't have to go through the permitting process anymore.
That's good. How far back is that back line off the road right there
This one,
for the expanded lot?
160 feet. And that's just what we went with the city, went over the city with all the setbacks.
Yeah.
And stormwater and everything that we've got. There was, when we first talked to them, they talked about us doing, I think, is it called a planned urban development? But we've showed them what we've got right now, and it actually fits into, we just have to modify the, conditional use permit that we've got right now.
What's the zone now?
It is zoned industrial, institutional, residential.
Yeah,
So it meets the underlying zoning requirements.
Yeah.
And all we'd have to do is just modify the conditional use permit, and we're looking at going before the city at the beginning of November for their planning commission approval. And then it would be after Thanksgiving, which would be when we would get the city council approval. And then the plans are we would go out for bid in like January for construction in spring.
That little highway memorial there, that's not considered a park, is it?
No. Because we
I would
haven't,
ask.
we haven't called it a park, and because it's something that is internal to the county, it won't be classified as a park.
Okay. Fine, just so we don't get there and then somebody
And-
says, hey,
Where is it?
it's right here, over here.
Oh, okay.
So if I go down to the next page. My God, this is so slow doing it, sharing it. I thought it would be faster.
you don't write them.
Yeah. I don't know why it's taking so long. Well, I don't want to waste your time. But because they're residential, we don't have to follow all the commercial requirements.
Mhm.
So the plan that we've got is, this is something that guys could build in a shop. And deliver them on a flatbed. Once we have the pad poured,
Also, it's like modular housing,
yeah,
like a
Um,
Wausau home or something, like, sort of like.
yeah,
Not
could be.
like that.
But there's also, I've talked to the architect, there's something called modular panels, maybe Andy knows about this more, where they actually come. It's like a sandwich material, and they have, mechanical joints that you join the panels together. And it's almost like an office partition, but it is, something that you can build a lot faster, and it's comparable in price to somebody taking and laying out a sill plate and putting up studs and then doing everything like that.
Maybe you want to talk with Bolt. They were building those modular
Yeah.
homes. They had actually had there's a conveyor belt that these things were on. I couldn't believe it, that the buildings were on a conveyor belt. They move
Yeah.
move along
I'm hoping-
into one area, into the next. I mean, yeah, they were like the modular hospitals. A lot of them they sent down to Georgia, but they were building them in the Manitowoc area.
It'd be nice. In talking with the city, they've got some unique rules with this. Basically, we have to, and where you see this building here, that is gonna be like the utility building. Because there's only one account for water, like one account for electricity. So we will have to have deduct meters in there, and we will have to determine how much water and electricity the individuals are using, then we'll have to bill them for that, with their rent.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
What type of heating systems do units have?
We're gonna have, like the heaters that you see in hotels.
Yeah.
They call them mini splits
In the wall?
in the wall. Yeah. It's, the facilities we've got are about 500 square feet. You know, there's enough room for a bed, enough room for a sitting area. It's an efficient, small kitchen. And we will probably have, they call them ducted mini splits, where we'll have one supply in the living area, one supply in the bedroom. And they're relatively inexpensive and easy to maintain, just like a hotel.
What kind of exterior wall covering do you have?
We haven't figured that out yet.
So they won't look like mobile homes, but they sort of have the width and length of a mobile home. but they-
Yeah. Yeah,
And the city was okay with that as long as they're on foundations, right?
Yep.
I suppose, yeah, okay.
they just built the city just went through a tiny home, project off of Snell, I think.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like that project paved the way for this. So they're familiar with it, and they don't have any issues with it. If I can get down to the floor plan, I can show you. We'd have like a patio door here is what we're thinking right now to get light in.
Yeah.
And a porch. And then the same thing on the back with the bedroom, and then it would just be solid walls on either side. And then we would have an external access to get to things that we would have to take care of, so that we wouldn't really have to go into these places unless something inside, like a faucet or something, broke.
What's just inside the doorway there?
Well, that
Is that a wall?
here, this, yeah, because this would be where we have like the power panel and things like that,
Oh,
that we would have to have access to, but not have to go inside the building.
how do you get in and out of the unit?
Well, right now, he was talking about going in and out through
Through the
these
patio
big
door?
things here. But I'm thinking, with these individuals, I'm gonna have to tell them, we probably don't want floor to ceiling windows, because these individuals are not that kind. We'll probably put in a door and with a half light, and then put in, other windows to get the light in there. We might put in some skylights to get some more natural light in there. But
Yeah, those things leak though, don't they, Andy?
Yeah,
What about the thing in the back? What's that room in the back?
this is the bedroom.
Is that
This
a
would-
closet in the back there?
This is a closet.
What's behind the bedroom?
This is the bed.
Yeah,
This would be where the washer and dryer are. This is a
Yeah.
fully accessible ADA
right.
type restroom.
All the way to the left though, what's
This
in there?
would be the back porch.
That's the
Oh.
porch, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have the front porch up there.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
and then
yep.
the front porch up here.
12 by 48.
And then, there's enough room for a table to eat at and a couch.
Yeah.
And they're restricted on entertainment, so there's really not room for a TV or anything. And I've said this before, if I was one of these individuals, I would petition to stay at Sandridge, because this is basically solitary confinement.
You don't have a TV?
They can't watch,
No,
these,
you can't watch anything.
yeah, these are,
This is like solitary confinement, like you said.
Yeah.
they have no access, they can't have a smartphone, they have no computer access to the internet. And,
And
A
do
lot
they
of it-
not, when they leave the building, they have to have a guard?
yes, at least at the very beginning, as they finish up their time, the individual that we've got in the trailer right now has been there, I think, just about 2 years, this month or next month. And, he should be coming up on release here pretty soon. And then he'll be released to the wild, and then he won't have any kind of, restrictions other than being on the list for the rest of his life. I don't know if he has to wear a bracelet the rest of his life or not. But like, you watch some things on TV and it would just feed into their addiction. So
Is there windows in there?
not on the sides,
Not on the
just at
sides,
the
so
two ends.
You're not forcing them to look at the landfill. You
Well,
got
the
east-west exposure.
landfill would be out this way.
Yeah, I know. So you got an east-west exposure at least, so they're not looking
It'd
at
be
that
north-south.
garbage hill all the time.
They'll be looking at Garbage Hill.
They will?
Yeah.
Oh, it's north-south? I thought it was.
Yeah. This is
Oh, okay.
north-south. I tried rotating it to
I see.
be,
All right.
to be the real orientation, but it
So they
didn't
will,
work well.
the porch is southern exposure.
Yeah, the back porch is southern exposure.
Well, at least they have that.
They'll be looking at a pile of highway stuff.
They got the sun.
Yeah.
At least they're
Can I
not
take a
tortured
copy of that?
without light.
What's that?
Can I have a copy of that? About your file?
It's not final yet. We're still working on that. Cause what we showed the city yesterday is a little bit different than this, but I didn't get a copy. It was another one like, we were sharing it on the screen. And I've asked the architect to send it to me. I haven't gotten it.
Only a 3-foot gap between each unit, huh?
Yeah. And the city's okay with that, because what happens then is under the building code, those 3 units is counted as one building. Even though it's not,
Yeah.
it's 3 separate units, but it's classified as one building. So a lot of this is being done in order to fit within the zoning.
Yeah.
And then it's not the Taj Mahal.
No,
But it's
but I like,
someplace that these guys can get.
I like the fact that they're individual units and not attached to all, I think that's better.
And the construction that the architect's proposing is if we would ever want to, if we ever not needed them, we could pick them up and move them. That's the thoughts.
All right. Anybody else for the 980 stuff? All right, Mike, you kind of touched on your budget, director report on department operations and update of current and upcoming maintenance projects.
Our annual budget, I said, earlier, we're looking, it's probably gonna be a little tight for us. We're not gonna have a lot of money left over other than in wages. We're still trying to wait to see what the utility costs are gonna be for the winter. We've had some issues, where inflation is just hitting us, it's hitting everybody, we don't have to pay for groceries, but, the cost of copper went up. Parts are hard to get, so just because there is a limitation on availability, it drives the cost up. And then, gasoline affects us having to get around to the different buildings. So we're looking pretty good. I think, if you go back to, I think like page 4, we're about 3/4 of the way through the year, and our overall expenses are at 60%. But if you take out if you take out labor, we're closer to 70% of our expenses. So we're right along track where we should be at this time of year. But we'll see how the rest of the year hits us with snow removal and utilities. We could get a little tight. And then, I apologize, you didn't get to see the project list early. We've gotten the final bill for the courthouse masonry, so that project is completely done. We talked about the 980. We have got a project that I've got to bring before the county board, which is the air conditioning for Nina Human Services. We did have one of the compressors fail, and that is an R22 system. So we have to replace the air conditioning chillers. And that will be about $150,000 to $175,000 job. So that I'm hoping to get the county exec's approval to come before you in October and get that capital project going. The DA's remodel is coming along. We should be done with that in a couple weeks. The training facility for Parkview, we should be done relatively quickly, like by the end of October, I'm thinking. They were putting in the suspended ceiling. We got the flooring for it last week, so that should be going down. It's all painted. I think, we can probably say we'll be done by the end of October with that, and they'll be able to start using the building.
They got people to start training in there? I know that's
I
not
don't
your
know.
end of it.
I don't know. The evidence garage, we are working on, we've got the preliminary designs. I think we showed you all when we asked for the funding. That is now being put into final design and construction documents. And that one, they're doing the survey this week or next week to place the building on the lot. And we're looking to go before the city probably in the November, early December timeframe for the site review for that, and get that out prepared after the new year.
What about the boathouse?
The boathouse is finally starting. They've got the sheet piling in, they're ready to start doing the demolition. We have to wait on WPS to pull the meter off the building. And that's gonna take about a week to get going, but they're all set to go. The city did pull out from doing their stormwater, which is making the whole project a lot easier for us. So
Cause that was the original holdup, wasn't it?
What do you mean they pulled out?
we brought the project before you guys to redo the boathouse.
Yeah.
And the city, when they did the plan review, said, oh, in 2025, we're gonna be doing a new stormwater outfall.
Yeah,
Can you guys just put the stub in for the stormwater outfall? We'll pay for it. And we said, okay. Once we got rad keys and everything there, and we're starting to look at it more, we had to take out some trees, but the trees have grown around the guy wire for a support pole for an ATC pole, and ATC says, we're not gonna move any of this stuff. So the city's kind of like, I don't know how we're gonna do this. So they're just saying, we'll come up with a plan and do it in 2024, 25, like we had thought. Just go ahead and do your boathouse and we'll deal with it when it's our turn. So all the delays that we've had through the whole time was trying to get the memo of understanding with the city and get everything worked out like that. If we hadn't had the city involved, we probably could have started this and had it done by the middle of summer. So, but we are working on it now. They've taken out as much as they can. Once we get the meter off the building, then the building will come down and they will start doing their piling and we'll start going from there, go to town.
Great, that's good, great. Anything else, Mike?
Those are the big ones I can think of right now.
USDA.
Oh. This is. I wish I would just tell you what they want up front. We told them what it would cost, what we thought it would cost to do the remodeling. They didn't like the price. They wanted us to go out for bids. So we had to do the design. We went out for bids. And the bids came in lower than what we had estimated, which is always good. I sent them that cost. And now they came back and said that, well, we want to know, they call it the schedule of values. And I said, we don't normally get that until after we start the project, it's an okay. We get a lump sum fixed price bid from these people. So we had to go back to, I think Cardinal's the low bidder, and say, can we have your schedule of values? So we got the schedule of values on Friday. I sent it to them Monday, and she just replied the day I think that she received it. So now they're going to review what the schedule of values is, which basically takes the bid amount and breaks it down to how much is drywall, how much is electrical, how much is HVAC. It doesn't change the price at all, but it's just, well, we want to see where all the costs are going.
Really?
Yeah, so we'll see what they come back with, in a week or so. And then we'll be able to finalize our bid or our lease proposal to them. And then we'll see if they accept the lease. It's never been this difficult before. We would tell them, we want to charge you $12 a square foot. They said, okay. They sent a lease and both parties signed it and we were done. And now it's really tough. And Outagamie County went through the same thing. So it took them a year to get the lease negotiated.
They actually signed it?
Yeah. And then after they signed it and Outagamie County was planning on using Jack's maintenance, Jack's was there for about 3-4 months and then said, we can't support you anymore. So, and like I said, Outagamie County contracts out most of their work.
Yeah.
So, they're left scrambling, trying to figure out how they're gonna clean their building.
How long term was that Outagamie County was?
It would be the same thing. It would be 3 years firm and then 10-year commitment. But after 3 years, they can bail.
All right. Suggestions for items for the next meeting agenda.
One thing I would like to point out to you, the November meeting would be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, which is also deer season.
Not good.
It's probably not a good day. And I'm actually hoping to take that day off.
Yeah.
So you might want to reconsider in November what day you want to have it.
We could, if we did it the 30th, that would be the 5th, Wednesday. It's up to this committee what they want to do. So it's either the week before or after things. Well, yeah, be the 16th or the 30th. So
And I don't know, I'd do it the week after, if there's deer hunters in there.
I would suggest that.
All against fine if you're gonna wanna get something
I'm not
on,
there on
on the agenda for the county board.
They're probably not gonna be able to go this year. Anymore.
But
Doesn't matter
it
to me.
should still follow the same way, I think.
This is the,
It's
well,
fine if you go the week after, if you go. Or so.
So the 30th,
Doesn't matter to me.
Well, but
we-
you're dealing with October. I just wanted to point out to you early that you can think about your November. meeting.
November. Well, yeah,
But-
what Tom is saying is that, if we do it on the 16th, then we'll have no problem getting it on the agenda for the county board, right?
I would say leave it up to the director and the chairman's, pick out as long as it don't really matter, either one's up
Yeah,
to us.
Doesn't matter to me.
Cause they know what's gonna, if it's gonna be brought up to the county board something too.
Okay, well, Mike, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
That's just my thought.
It's a good thought.
Well,
so October meeting is,
October is gonna be on the 26th.
the same place, yeah.
Yep.
And just to point out, we did do some modifications for it.
Mhm.
So, when we did this all, really, we got the TV monitor for doing our training. So the camera was a little over, what, $100, $110.
Works well.
Yeah,
And it
that's
works well.
pretty cheap.
Items for the next meeting agenda, I guess, what do we have for suggestions out there for on the 26th of October?
When would, ADRC present for their acquisition of 2831 Harrison?
That will be on the October one,
That would be on our,
on the next meeting for you guys.
They're gonna present.
Yes.
Okay.
so we wouldn't have another meeting here before they present that, or?
No.
They'll present and then we'll, at the 26th meeting, then we would probably have some discussion and maybe approval of that.
Okay,
So that,
I'm glad I brought it up now.
And then what I'll do is, I've got the appraisal,
Yeah.
I've got the building condition report from the architect I hired to go take a look at it. I'll mail that off to you guys. You can read it.
You could
And
get the lease from the
I'll see if I can,
try to get it.
if I can get it released.
Probably the USDA.
USDA 980.
98 USDA.
Yep.
Yeah, the USDA is kind of a, threw us a curveball there.
Anyway, I can update.
So
you.
how long have they been there actually? 'Cause, you know,
They were having an office in one of our county buildings from the early 1990s that I know of. We used to have a building over next to the fairgrounds, and they were in there. And then when we built the Coughlin Center, they were part of the design process, and we actually built those offices for them. And they've been in Coughlin since 1998.
wow. So this has been really long term.
Yeah.
Wow.
The way it sounded that day that we toured, it didn't sound like any of the employees there had any problems, the way it was, it's,
No,
Yeah, that's what I don't quite understand. What is the problem with the building now? Is it outdated or?
they want a conference room built is the big thing, and they want to provide more security for their computer network. Which requires us to build a room around their server rack and air condition it. But when you start putting up walls, you end up having to start changing the lighting and the HVAC distribution. And all those things.
And it just kind of mushrooms from there. And then they wanted us to provide more perimeter security for the office. They want to put cipher locks on their doors. They wanted us to, pin the windows shut. But, you know, we'll work with the local people because they said during the pandemic, people didn't come in. We opened up the window and did transactions through the window with the person still outside. So, talking to the people in Washington, they said, you know, as long as the people are happy locally, you know, it's not a big issue. Because they have, cleaning requirements that are more than what we do for all of our buildings.
Wasn't there some question from, UWO Fox Cities joining Refa, didn't get something on the agenda and you were out with COVID or?
They had wanted some capital projects to
Yeah,
go. You guys, I believe, passed it.
the parking lots.
The parking lot and stuff.
Projector.
That was on the last one.
Yep.
But
Long overdue,
they didn't get onto the P&F committee meeting. And
Oh,
actually, I believe the last P&F committee meeting had a relatively long agenda.
okay.
So it would have been, difficult to do it. But for some reason, there was some breakdown in the process that we had yet. We're all still just learning how to get things through our side of the house
Yeah.
to get stuff onto the agendas. And it didn't make the agenda.
yeah.
That's not your fault, they're all
No.
posted, they can figure that out too, they got a clerk there too, that.
Yeah, and it's. Speaking, my personal opinion is, the county has its own priorities and its own work that we have to do. And it doesn't necessarily coincide with what they feel their priorities are. And it's like, you know, just bide your time and you will get through the process. It's, you know, just because you want to do something immediately doesn't necessarily mean that we're gonna jump and go through hoops to make you happy.
Okay, exactly. All right, and none of that other stuff is at the point where we need to worry
No.
about it.
There's nothing else, Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn.
All right, all right, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
All right,
All right, opposed, all right. Gentlemen,
all right.
10:26, back here again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
Good to be
that's-
seen.
Yeah, good to be seen. Grandpa says that all, say it all.
If I miss-
Yep.
if the